breaking news coming in at the moment of the Hamas chief who's been killed, as well as his bodyguard. After this is the news that's coming in at the moment. We're talking about the chief of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, and one of his bodyguards were killed after his residence was targeted in Tehran. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard has gone on. This is IRGC that has gone on to confirm this news. So Iran state media says that the Hamas chief has been killed. Ismail Haniyeh and his bodyguard have been killed. So breaking news coming in at the moment of the death of the chief of Hamas, who's been killed in an attack on his residence in Tehran. So a statement by the IRGC's Public Relations Department said the attack was carried out early today, adding that a probe is underway to find the cause of the incident. The statement offered condolences to the people of Palestine as well as the Muslim world, and also the fronts of fighters over the Hamas's leader's death. It was Haniyeh who had attended the inauguration of Iran's new president and met Iran's supreme leader just yesterday. We have Vishal joining us. Vishal, what information do you have for us? Breaking news coming in of the chief of Hamas being killed, that too at his own residence.
That's exactly. This is huge, as claimed by the Iranian state media, Press TV. They have quoted IRGC, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's a very powerful group in Iran, which aligns with the supreme leader of Iran and other forces. So they have claimed that the chief of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, who does not reside in Gaza, he is an outstation chief of Hamas. To be precise, he is the Hamas's political bureau chief. He mostly resides in Qatar. Because Qatar also gives asylum to some of the this party's political forces. So he resides there mostly, but he was in Tehran at the moment. The reports are saying that, state media reports. So it's not clear whether it was an airstrike or what kind of an attack it was, but they have claimed that one of Ismail Haniyeh's bodyguards and himself, Haniyeh, the both have been killed. And so far, there have been no claims from Israeli side whether they have attacked Haniyeh, but it's safe to assume that it could be Israel that is behind the attack. However, as I mentioned, there's no official confirmation from Israel sides as yet. But this is huge because Haniyeh is the top guy in Hamas, and Hamas has been fighting Israel in a non-stop battle, in a non-stop war for the last 8-9 months, which has killed over 40,000 people in Gaza, mostly civilians, mostly children and women. So what happens now when the top guy in Hamas has been killed? That will be the biggest question. He pulled a lot of strings from outside the territory. He was not in Gaza, but he was the top guy in Hamas. So what direction does Hamas take in this war against Israel? That will be also one of the biggest questions. As far as the latest reports are concerned, we've been reporting that Press TV, which is the state media of Iran, has claimed, quoting IRGC, which is also another powerful group in Iran, that Ismail Haniyeh has been killed and one of his bodyguards has also been killed in Tehran. Whether or not it was a targeted strike, that remains to be seen. They seem to be visiting Iran. All of that has to be confirmed, but Iranian state media is claiming, it's a big claim, that Ismail Haniyeh has been killed.
Vishal, Israel's military has gone on to say that it wasn't issuing any kind of emergency orders for the public in Israel, a possible sign that Israeli officials did not expect immediate retaliation. We prefer to resolve hostilities without a wider war, is what is being said by the Israeli military spokesperson. But he also went on to add that the military in Israel was fully prepared for any kind of situation. So, when we talk about the chief of Hamas, take us through the man who is believed to be dead. We're talking about Ismail Haniyeh, who has been killed. Just yesterday, he was at that inauguration ceremony of Iran's leader.
That is correct. So Israel, hours ago, India time, it was about 10 p.m., I think, when Israel claimed an attack in the suburbs of Beirut, claiming to have killed a top commander of Hezbollah, which is another powerful group fighting against Israel. So that attack, came just few hours within this timeline. So two top guys of Israel's opposition, Israel's opposing forces, two top guys have been killed within a space of few hours. Uh, the official confirmation from Israel about Ismail Haniyeh's killing is yet to come, but Israel has claimed that it has killed the top commander of Hezbollah. uh, Israel also blamed the top commander of Hezbollah for, orchestrating the attack that killed about 12 young adults in Golan Heights, which is an Israeli occupied territory in Syria. So a lot has happened over the last 7 days when it comes to the Israel-Hamas war. Uh, 12 young adults, as I reported earlier, 12 young adults were killed in Golan Heights. Israel retaliated, killed a top commander of Hezbollah, and then this huge announcement by the state media of Iran claiming that the leader of Hamas, the top leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has been killed. So it's a lot when it comes to the Israel-Hamas war. What happens from now? Whether or not Hamas and Hezbollah will join hands? They already are allies, but whether or not they retaliate, have a joint force against Israel, that all remains to be seen. But as of now, it's a big, huge development as far as the Israel Hamas war is concerned. What kind of shape this war will take, that is also one of the biggest questions right now.
Right. When we also, speak about the situation on the ground, like you have mentioned, that this comes right on the heels of that attack that took place, of the man who was responsible for that attack as far as Golan Heights is concerned. This attack that took place on Saturday, which included youngsters. There were 12 people who were killed in the attack, and it is Israel that claimed responsibility for that. And just on the heels of that is when the chief of Hamas, who was yesterday at the swearing-in ceremony of the Iranian president, who was sworn in before parliament as the Islamic Republic's 9th president, at that ceremony that took place. And we saw that the leader of Hamas was right there. The chief of Hamas was there at that ceremonial ceremony that was taking place as far as the swearing-in ceremony is concerned.
That is correct. So as I've been telling that these two top guys have been killed, both belonging to some of the top opposing forces of Israel, namely Hamas and Hezbollah. The top commander of Hamas, who was killed a few hours ago in Beirut. To give a history of that guy, he was involved with Hezbollah since the inception of the militant group back in the 80s. So since then, he has been regularly involved in attacks against forces that either oppose Iran or its allies. So just to recall, back in 1983, this top commander of Hezbollah, he had orchestrated an attack on the US military personnel that had killed at least 240 people. So, and the US government had, kept a, award money of $5 million or more to, provide some kind of information on this guy. So that was a big win for Israel to get that guy Fuad, to be precise. His name is Fuad. So over the last few hours, two top targets of Israel have been eliminated. The latest information is that the Press TV, which is the state media of Iran, has claimed that has quoted IRGC and said that the top commander, the top top boss of Hamas has been killed in Tehran when he was he was in Tehran for a visit. As you mentioned earlier, he was there to attend the swearing-in ceremony of the new Iranian president. So how this operation was orchestrated, how this operation was planned, that all needs to be seen, whether or not Israel was involved, which is most likely possible. Yeah.
Right. So Haniyeh, who was in Tehran to attend the inauguration ceremony of the Iranian president, was in Tehran, and this assassination has taken place as far as the leader is concerned. We're talking about the chief of the Hamas political bureau, Ismail Haniyeh. Breaking news coming in of his death. He, along with his bodyguard, were killed at the residence at the time in Tehran. They were there yesterday attending the inauguration ceremony, the swearing-in ceremony of the 9th president. And this is is at that time, they were at that inauguration ceremony, but after that, post that ceremony, once they were at the residence of the chief of Hamas, is when the chief of Hamas and his bodyguard were killed. And this comes on the heel of that retaliation strike that's taken place by Israel. Israel claiming responsibility for that attack that was carried out in Beirut. The Israeli military confirmed that its fighter jets eliminated Hezbollah's senior commander Fuad Shakar during that airstrike in Beirut that took place on Tuesday. We have my colleague Ghazali joining us. Ghazali, back-to-back two attacks, one as far as the Hezbollah commander is concerned, and now the Hamas chief who has been killed.
See, the attack has come yesterday as being claimed. First, the Hezbollah commander, as Vishal was mentioning, was key figure for establishing Hezbollah in the late 80s and also was responsible for the 1983 U.S. Marine barrack attack, which killed more than 200 U.S. Marines. Now, why the Ismail Haniyeh's assassination, which has been done, is very significant because then this has happened in Iran. We already know that Iran's previous president and the ex-foreign minister were killed in a plane crash, helicopter crash. That probe is still on. Iran and other agencies kept hinting that it was Israel's involvement for killing their ex-president. Now, Ismail Haniyeh was in Iran for the coronation coronation ceremony of the new president, and that is when he has been assassinated or killed. One of his bodyguards have also been killed. Now, Israel has not come out openly to claim that they are behind this assassination, but Western agencies and many agencies, and it is well understood because Haniyeh was one of the key targets for Israel. He was the key architect of October 7 attack, and he has been evading all the assassination attempts by Israel because he was not in Gaza. He was moving to Egypt. He was seen in Turkey. He was seen in Qatar, and he was also behind most of the mediation talks between Israel and Hamas with foreign players like Turkey, with Qatar, US. And we know that Ismail Haniyeh is a very key figure for Hamas. His many family members have been killed in multiple air strikes by Israel in Gaza in the last 9 months. But killing Ismail Haniyeh is a big blow to Hamas because he was one of the key figures. Other military commanders have been killed in the last 9 months, but he was also a political figure. Not only he would oversee the operations of Hamas in Gaza Strip, but he was also a key figure who was recognized, who was in touch with the global Arab leaders in the Arab countries, like in Qatar. He was mostly seen in Qatar. He was also seen in Turkey. He was also seen in Egypt. So all these neighborhood countries of Israel and Palestine were the places where Mr. Haniyeh was seen since October 7 attack, and he used to issue statements as well. Now, killing him in Iran has some geopolitical ramifications as well, because Iran has always been hostile to Israel, and now killing Ismail Haniyeh in Iran, on the land of Iran, is something which will drag Iran yet again into the entire war which has been going on in the Middle East. Yesterday, they killed somebody, a very key commander in Lebanon, and already US and other superpowers were trying to sort of cool down the tempers, trying to see that situation doesn't escalate in Middle East. And this is what Mr. saying.
Right. Ghazali there explaining to us how Ismail Haniyeh has been killed in Iran along with his bodyguard. Iran's Revolutionary Guards has gone on to say that it had been targeted in his residence along with his bodyguard. It has said, it is being said that he was in Tehran to attend the inauguration of the president, the ceremony taking place of his swearing in. Well, what is being said is that they're investigating the circumstances of the incident. He was the exiled political chief of the militant group. This is Haniyeh. He had spent much of his time in recent years in Qatar, like Ghazali was mentioning. We also have Vishal back with us. Vishal, take us through that he was exiled. How was he operating? Was he operating from Qatar? Is that where he was stationed, or was he moving about in the recent years?
That is correct. Ghazali just mentioned that he was a key political figure and he had been moving around for a while. Ever since the war started back in October last year, he had been traveling across the Middle East. It's been about 8 to 9 months, and but he mostly operated out of Qatar because Qatar has provided asylum to Hamas's leaders for a while now. Qatar maintains its neutrality, but says that Hamas needs to be represented through its political party, and that is why they have granted they had granted Ismail Haniyeh a residence in Qatar. So, how this unfolded, how Israel planned this attack, that will be the biggest question, because Israel has actually now sort of attacked Iran, because he was in the Ismail Haniyeh was in the Iranian territory. He was in the capital Tehran, as we've been reporting. So, how does Iran respond? That is also because we have to remember that Iran is a really powerful player in the Middle East and across the globe. Uh, there have been, sanctions on Iran from many top, heavyweights of the global arena, such as US and its allies. But Iran has been able to sustain itself. Iran has a really strong defense forces. So, particularly IRGC, which is a really strong force within Iran and outside as well. So, uh, how will Iran respond to this when Israel says that it has actually, planned this attack that killed Ismail Haniyeh? That remains to be seen
Right.
when Israel releases that statement, but it will be huge whenever it does.
Right, Ghazali, quickly before I let you go, tell our viewers, get us a background on Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas leader.
See, Ismail Haniyeh has been a key political figure for Hamas, a person who was in touch with all the global leaders as far as the Arab world is concerned. Despite the attack, he managed to escape all the assassination attempts earlier in the last 9 months. As Vishal was mentioning, that is why he was given a kind of protection back in Qatar as well. Qatar is a key mediator between Israel and Hamas whenever there is an escalation. Now, what is going to be the big significant impact of this attack is that all this while, US and other superpowers are trying to cool down the tempers in the Middle East, but this is perhaps the second attack in Iran. And after the killing Hezbollah member in Lebanon, US was trying to have a controlled retaliation from both Iran and Hezbollah and Israel. But now, by dragging or killing somebody in Iran, somewhere Iran will have a kind of a public pressure or a perception pressure to retaliate to this attack, and now situation is going to escalate, and we'll have to see that how Iran reacts to it, because this is back-to-back attacks in Iran. First, the president was killed in airport in the helicopter crash, though Iran still claims that there was no foul play, but internal observers or Middle East watchers claim that perhaps that was also an external agency which was responsible for the killing, though there is no solid backing behind that evidence as of now. But it's a big setback for Iran, because Iran used to play in the Middle East through its proxy players: Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis. These are the three terrorist groups through which
Right.
Iran operates in the Middle East. And Ismail Haniyeh was one of the key figures who used to travel around, meet leaders in Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, Iran, and he has
Right.
visited Iran twice. The last time he visited was when the previous president was killed, and now in the coronation ceremony of the new president. So this has been a big
Right,
setback
Ghazali.
for these who are operating in the Middle East.